Hey guys, it's Penguin here and welcome back to another gold making video. In today's video, we are going to be going over 6 things that you can start right now to ensure that you are ready for the war within. If you guys are anything like me, I am super excited for the end of August. I'm super excited to dive into the new professions, but there are definitely a lot of things I need to do beforehand to just make sure I'm the most ready I can be. So we're going to talk about that in today's video. We're going to have some laughs. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. And so up first, we're going to start out very simple, potentially very obvious, but something that I have a hard time with, and this is that you need to go take some time and clean out your bags and your banks. If you guys are anything like me, you might have a lot of characters that are a lot of different crafters, so you just tend to throw materials in banks, or you might have a lot of guild banks that you use for mass storage, mass flipping, things like that, and things tend to get lost. For example, right here, I am on one of my alts that I haven't played in quite a while. It's a level 60. Everything was looking pretty good until I opened my guild bank. Right here, we have some clean tabs, but then all of a sudden, we have some Shadowlands legendaries showing up. We have a full page of copyright, some more legendaries, and some more legendaries. And these have been sitting here basically since the end of Shadowlands, which was quite a long time ago. So, you know, if I knew these were there sooner, I could have probably sold these off and made some pretty good gold. Going back to this copyright, apparently I bought it around 630 days ago for 5 gold a piece. It's now down to 50 silver. I remember now that I was going to prospect this, and obviously I never got to it. And so, you know, at this point, I can decide to vendor these items, sell them for transmog, make a little bit of money back, maybe I'll do it and prospect it, but at the very least, I can clean out some tabs and make some extra gold. If you want another funny example, this is once again another one of my alts, and if we look at my bank, as you can see, I have a ton of Shadowlands items once again. As you guys may know, they were removing the beginner items from the starting zone, so I have a ton of that stored, and it seems like this was my milling inscription character, as I have a lot of inks and a lot of random cards. And so once again, I can clear up this bank. Not only do I get more inventory space to store stuff in the future, but I can actually make some pretty decent gold. It might take me a little bit to sell it, but right here I can at least make, you know, about 2 gold each on each ink, which if I'm sitting at about 6,000, you know, that's about 12,000 gold that I can easily get for just clearing out my bank. These right here, apparently, we'll have to see how fast these sell. They might be worth 50 gold a piece, and I'm sitting on 3,000, so that might actually make me a pretty good amount of money. Honestly, I'll probably vendor these cards, but yeah, this is just a great way. Make sure you go on those characters. You never know how much random stuff you're gonna have. You know, if it's BOP items, just get rid of them. If it's materials, end up using them or just sell them, and make some space for all of your brand new items and make some extra gold. And moving on, number 2, probably one of the biggest yet broadest tips on this list is that you ultimately just want to have as much liquid gold as possible. The amount of gold that you have sitting in your bags and that you can readily use on your characters is going to be a huge game changer. Because let's face it, materials are expensive at the start of expansions, and you're going to need it, especially if you want to be one of the first few people to specific recipes, or you just want to level your professions as fast as possible. So having more gold just means you're going to have an easier time purchasing materials. Also, at the very early parts of the expansion, people don't really know what items are worth. So if you have some gold on hand, you can definitely try to buy up some cheaper materials and flip them for a higher price. Of course, that's a little bit more risky, but if you have the gold on hand, you can do a lot more of that flipping. And of course, you know, the more money you spend, the more profitable items you can craft. Let's say a bag is making 50 gold profit, but it cost, you know, 300 gold to craft. You definitely need to have enough gold to craft a lot of them to make sure you make the profit. So just having as much liquid as you can, you know, raw gold in your bags ready to go is going to be perfect. Kind of continuing on to that, you know, a follow-up to that, a lot of people are like, Penguin, how much should I aim to have? And like I said, it really doesn't matter the amount, it's kind of the ratio. Of course, having 20k liquid is way better than having 10k, and then of course having 1,000,000 gold to spend is way better than 20k, but let's say, you have about 50k worth of items, whether it's Dragonflight or not, on the auction house. Definitely try to get rid of that and have 50k in your bags. If you sell old world stuff, definitely don't run out of your stock and just never restock. Definitely you want to make sure you're still making gold, but try not to, freeze up all of your gold in assets and you have to wait for them to sell. Because if they don't sell by the time the War Within, you buy a bunch of transmog to try to flip or something like that, you can definitely be stuck with a lot of gold value in items, and that just means less gold for you to spend on the new expansion materials. So definitely as the, next few months go on, think about how much gold you have and how much you can have at the start of the expansion. And this kind of flows perfectly into tip number 3, which is get rid of your Dragonflight stocks. Especially a lot of people right now are either playing the remix, which we'll talk about in a second, maybe you're playing classic, maybe you're not even playing WoW, and you're just taking a break. And if you're one of 3 of those people, or just doing something different, not spending a lot of time on actual retail, you might as well just get rid of your Dragonflight items now. If you're someone like me, I have a very bad habit of buying in bulk and just saying to myself, oh, I'll use them eventually. And that is why I currently have about 7,700 Dorado fish that I haven't used, that I bought, over 2 months ago. And will I ever use them? Maybe, maybe I will tell myself I'll do some crafting now, do some cooking, but realistically, I'm probably not. And as, the longer I hold on to them, the cheaper and cheaper they're going to get. Supposedly, I bought them, at least a bulk of them 72 days ago, and I bought them at 11 gold a piece, and at this point, they're at about 4 gold a piece. So I've already lost 2/3 of my value. If I'm not going to spend them soon, I might as well at least get rid of the bulk of them. And of course, if you're still selling stuff like bags, if you're still crafting enchants, keep those items. You don't have to go completely barren, and I'm also not telling you to stop crafting. If it's profitable, keep at it, but at some point, you just don't want to be caught up with so many items. You guys saw what, was sitting in my bags from expansions ago. Don't be like me. Do as I say and don't do as I do, and sell off your items to have as much gold possible, and so you're just not accidentally losing gold by stockpiling random items. Now, moving on, many of you are probably thinking, Penguin, this is the most boring video ever. You're telling me to go housekeep and clean your bags and banks. You're telling me to just quickly sell off all my stuff. This video is so boring, and sadly, the boringness doesn't stop. Tip number 4 that I have for you is go and seek out and finish those boring tasks and collect those things now so you don't have to do it in the future. Now, this can mean a lot of different things. First of all, if you're just a collector in general, maybe there's a transmog set from Dragonflight you really want, go do that now. Maybe there's a mount you really want, go do that now. Do all those boring tasks now so you don't have to go back and waste time in the War Within doing so. But focusing more on the gold making, look at the boring things you haven't completed that's going to make you gold. For example, of course, gear and things like that are going to fade out with the new expansion, right? The War Within is going to have a whole new brand of gear. It's going to be higher level. So, your epic quality armor pieces really probably doesn't matter. However, things like bags, toys, pets, cosmetics stay for expansions and become old world items that sell very, very well. A good example is, since I'm on my tailorer, and I've already mentioned it so many times throughout this video, think about bags. To this day, I am selling bags from the Burning Crusade, from Draenor, from Wrath, from Shadowlands, from Legion, from BFA. Literally all bags from all expansions are still selling, which means in the War Within, Dragonflight bags are going to be selling as well. So let's say you don't have the high-end reagent bag or the expedition pack yet, because those are locked by higher tiers of renown. Take the time now to grind out that renown to have these recipes for the future. Another great example are all of these cosmetics and these toys right here. You have the market tent, which is a toy, the cushions, which are also toys, this other tent. All of these, the duck levy, this is also a favorite. All of these toys right here do require different stages of reputation, which means, especially if you're on an alt, you probably don't have them unlocked. But up until this point, they make a ton of gold because people want cosmetics, people want toys, and they're still gonna want these toys in the War Within. Meaning if you have the recipes, you basically are setting yourself up for some passive gold in the future. Restock them once a month, once a week, however fast they sell, and you can just continue to make gold. And nobody wants to be farming Dragonflight reputation in the War Within. And lastly, the final thing I'll mention, keep in mind there's so many different things, but the jeweled whelplings. These right here are pets that come from jewel crafting, and kind of the annoying part of it is that they come from treasures. You need the special, first of all, you need the recipe, but then you also need the gem cluster, whatever it is, to craft it, which means it's a pain and you have to go out there and open treasures, dig dirt, etc. And these likely will probably go up in value in the War Within, because not many people will be farming for those items, not many people will be crafting them, but people still want them for their collection. So if you have some free time and you enjoy digging dirt or whatever, you might as well go and pick up a few extra whelplings, have them ready to craft, because that could just be a great way to make some gold in the future. If you like to gamble and you also believe they might go up in value, you might be able to purchase some to stockpile. That's up to you. I'm not going to say you should or you shouldn't, but these are just things to think about. A lot of different professions have a lot of cosmetics or toys. Get out there and collect before the expansion ends. And following that up, number 5 is that you should start investing. And investing can mean investing your time, but also investing your gold. Like I said, there are many things in Dragonflight that are easy to get now, but they might be a pain to get in the future. Or they really are a pain to get now, and they're going to be even a bigger pain in the future. And there's whelplings are an example of that, right? You have to go out of your way to farm the items for that pet, which means you're going to have to go out of your way even more, come back to the Dragon Isles to do that in future expansions. So you might as well stockpile some now. Additionally, think about other pets that not necessarily are craftable, but you find in different zones. I have a YouTube short about a pet that was very, very expensive at the start of 10.1 with the Zeralik Caverns. Nowadays, it's pretty cheap, but as less people are in the Zeralik Caverns or the Dragon Isles in general, that means that pet might have more popularity. So whether you go out there and get the pet yourself or you buy it off the auction house, it might be useful to hold on to a few of them for just some extra gold. Additionally, we've seen price spikes with these illusion patterns. As you guys probably know, these are enchant illusions cosmetics for your weapons, and these were very popular at the start of Dragonflight because they came from those Primal Storm events, but those events slowly disappeared and they're getting more and more rare, with, you know, the mastery going for about 1 million gold on average on the US region. So once again, this is a gamble if you want to buy them up now, but these are just things to look out for. If you don't have the recipes yourself, you might want to go ahead and buy them. These are cosmetics, meaning they're going to continue to be sold throughout other expansions. Think about the old Tome of Illusions of Enchanting, those still sell to this day. This will just be another illusion added to that list. So think about things like this. Anything that's kind of annoying to get now that has some sort of long-term use, whether it's a collection item, whether it's a cosmetic, looks pretty, etc. Maybe it's for an achievement, anything like that. Highly recommend diving in, maybe investing some gold if you think it's going to be worth it, and don't be afraid to spend gold to actually make gold in the future. Just remember, like I said, don't spend all your gold because you do want a lot of liquid gold going into the War Within, but you know, balance yourself out, set yourself up right. Just another side note on the topic of investing your time, I highly recommend if anybody is interested in multi-realm crafting and selling, keep in mind that the warbands are coming in the War Within, which means you're going to simply be able to just log on to a different realm, access your warband bank, pull any items out you want, sell it on the auction house, and vice versa. So if you've never done any sort of multi-realm selling due to needing a second account, that's no longer a requirement. Meaning, if you guys haven't already and you're interested, go out there now and sleuth out some servers that you would want to sell on and go and make a bank toon. This can simply be a level 1, this can be a level 10. I highly recommend it being at least a level 10. You know, you can level on that realm if you want, it's up to you, but might as well go ahead and make those bank toons now so you're just prepped and ready to go for the War Within. It might only take you 5 minutes and maybe it'll only save you 5 minutes of time, but might as well do it now in the downtime than having to rush to do it when servers are slow and people are playing a lot. And the last thing I want to talk about before ending this video is that you need to go and level alts. At least I highly recommend it, and that says a lot coming from somebody who hates leveling. First of all, right now, the Panda remix that is going on, that's lasting basically up until the next expansion, is god tier for leveling all of your characters. And at the end of the remix, all of those are being transferred over to retail, meaning go ahead and go power level on remix, so then you can have a ton of alts ready to go in retail when the War Within drops. But let's break down exactly why you want alts. First of all, at the start of the expansion, basically all professions are good. And if you guys know anything about gold making, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I always say diversity is key. So let's say you don't have a lot of gold, but you're going into the expansion and you want to make gold, having all professions benefits you a ton. Because let's say you can only afford to level up tailoring enough to make bags, boom, alright, you have bags on the auction house. Maybe you also level it up a bit more so you have cloth armor, boom, now you have bags and cloth armor ready to go. Then you go on your leatherworker and you level up leatherworking a little bit with the cheaper materials. Remember, you can't afford much. And boom, now you have mail and leather armor ready to go. Now you have 4 different sets of items. Maybe you level it up a little bit more and you unlock drums, even better. And this same trend happens. Maybe you can only level up alchemy a little bit, maybe you only get the healing potion recipe, but if the healing potion recipe is profitable, that's another diverse item added to your list of potential sales. Then you can level up cooking, then you can level up, you know, blacksmithing for plate armor, etc. This just compounds and compounds, which is why it's so important to have all professions if possible. Also, just thinking about the worst case scenarios, let's say you plan on going into the War Within as an alchemist blacksmith, but something happens and the alchemist market is completely awful and the blacksmithing market is completely awful. If you have alts, that means you can quickly pivot to other professions that you enjoy more than just being stuck with these bad professions. So if you haven't already, try to get all professions. If you want all primary professions, that's going to cost you 6 characters. Try to get at least 6. These need to be max level so you can go into the War Within, but at the very least, we got plenty of time. Try to level 6 characters if possible. And part 2 of this, to finish this off, if you truly want to go crazy right now, if you enjoy the remix, try to level as many alts as possible. I will have a video dedicated to alt armies that will come out very soon, probably in the next couple of weeks, to talk about this more, but let me just give you a sneak peek on why alts are so important in the War Within. As you guys may know, transmutes are very popular in Dragonflight, and they are staying as popular in the War Within, and potentially even better. In tailoring, right now, we have new cooldown bolts. We have the Dawn Weave right here and the Dusk Weave, and these act just like Chrono Cloth as well as Azure Weave in Dragonflight. Best thing about them is right now they don't require a special location, meaning you can just park your alt, at the main city or whatever bench you want, which just makes this awesome. But this just means that, alts are going to be super, super important. Additionally, probably the most important thing is alchemy. Not only are we getting a lot of different transmutations to kind of convert different materials, but the most important thing is probably this Gleaming Glory right here. This is a brand new transmute, and as you can see, I actually have my transmutations maxed out, and even with this maxed, I only have one of these transmutes, and what this gives you is the new epic gem that jewel crafters need to make your highest end gem in the War Within. So if we craft this right here, As you can see, this is a full 24-hour cooldown, even with maxed specializations. Who knows, you know, this could be a bug, maybe this changes, this is still beta, but at the standpoint right here, this is going to be an extremely scarce resource. However, it's going to be extremely expensive, because like I said, this is how people are going to be making their epic gems. From jewel crafting, they need one of these, and currently they only come from this transmute that is on a 24-hour cooldown. So let's just say this transmute is making 2,000 gold profit. If you have 10 characters, you log on once a day, click a button, you know, that's 2,000 gold profit times 10 characters, that's 20,000 gold profit for just clicking a button. Of course, you're going to have to unlock the transmutation, level up your alchemy a bit, so there's going to be a little bit of a setup, but once you have that setup done, it's literally the definition of passive gold. Log in, click a button, send it away, post it in the auction house, log off, and repeat. And especially at the start of the expansion, this will likely be very powerful. Also, just to kind of throw it in your ear, this is not confirmed, take this with a grain of salt, but bait and elusive baits still exist on skinning in the War Within, and if it uses any sort of the same mechanic as Dragonflight, that means there might be potentially daily rare skins once again, which is just another great benefit for alts. That's not confirmed, but at the very least, you have alchemy and tailoring. But yeah guys, that's about it. I know this video is more concepts rather than, hey, do this, do this, do this, but hopefully this can kind of get you in the mindset of preparing for the next expansion. It can get you a little excited, and also it's going to clean up your bags, make you a little bit more tidy, and potentially make you some more gold. So get out there everybody, clean your bags. I know I will be streaming a bag cleaning stream very, very soon. Likely just a few days after this video comes out, so feel free to join me on Twitch if you'd like. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. Let me know if you find anything crazy in your guild banks, and as always everybody, have a good day.